in the Kentucky Derby.
Now they move around the turn. The leader, War Admiral, 2.5 for green.
Next for Day, it is in the center of the racetrack. The Adams Sloop drawing alongside again.
War Emblem is still there. War Emblem is pulling away. He's got another gear.
Yeah, the Swiss they come in the Derby. Wheel away takes command.
Lionheart is all heart. Smarty Jones is all out. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's Slow of 1976.
1 week until the Kentucky Oaks, 8 days till Kentucky Derby 152. The draws for both tomorrow. Welcome to the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show presented by Twin Spires. Fast and clear skies with temperatures in the low 60s. Let's take a look at those headlines. Lots going on. Mark Casse with a trio of workouts yesterday, 1 Derby and 2 for the Oaks. We'll take a look back. Not really a headline, but it is news. Stark contrast to opting for the American turf, which was kind of sort of expected. That means Intrepido now draws in to the Derby top 20. Renegade, potential Kentucky Derby favorite, had his final breeze in Florida yesterday. Expected here to Churchill Downs as he's on his way via van. Emerging market, so happy. Headlines today's workers, both on the Derby and Oaks side. And tomorrow's opening day at Churchill Downs of the spring meet and the Kentucky Derby and Oaks draws between races 3 and 4. Joe Christoback, Kevin Kilroy, and Kevin were making progress. Like I said, draws coming up, final works, some yesterday, in and through this weekend. Then the bubble wrap goes on these horses until the actual race day.
It's it. I mean, this is the most analyzed race out there all year round, and we get so many narratives going on. You got to parcel through that. Your handicapping combined with the narratives. Sometimes you just want to lean on the handicapping, but sometimes we give you that information that really helps you score. So hopefully we can do a little bit of that today.
I say that to myself every year.
No, I'm telling myself.
And it's still tough.
It's hard.
We've got a starting 5. Kevin and I are new, the point guard and the shooting guard today. We've got one more substitution and a couple of regulars logging extra minutes as we send it to a new member of the team, at least on this Derby Work show. But she's been around Churchill Downs and our show before. It's Rosie Napravnik. Good morning, Rosie.
Hey, guys. I'm so glad to be back again. I get the best 3 days this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The best seat in the house back up here on the 4th floor overlooking the front side. And the weather is beautiful. The track is fast. So I'm really excited and looking forward to watching these horses for the Derby and Oaks come out and train. And we've got a couple of exciting horses to see this morning. I'm really looking forward to seeing Emerging Market, who I think is very intriguing, and also So Happy. So looking forward to seeing them, and we'll see some Oaks fillies as well. So let's throw it to Caitlin on the backside.
Well, thank you, Rosie. Good to have you with us once again here on the Morning Work Show. And a busy morning back here. It's warm, as Rosie alluded to. It's a very, very nice day here in the Ville, but still expecting a few Derby and Oaks arrivals to come. Renegade, we're looking forward to seeing in the next couple of days. Dan on Bourbon is expected to arrive today. He may actually be here about 4-something this morning. When I checked social media, he was on his way from Chicago, so he may be about to pull in now to take his spot in the Kentucky Derby. 6 Speed arrived yesterday. He is going to be out on the track at the designated training time of 7:15, so looking forward to seeing him. We'll take a little bit more of a deep dive on him as he gets onto the track, but Reagan Swinbank, one of his owners, did talk to me earlier on yesterday, said he came in feeling very, very good, so expecting to see good things from 6 Speed on the track. Maybe going to catch up with his trainer, Bupat Seymour, on here tomorrow, but let's go ahead and throw it on over to Ren Carruthers. And Ren, looking forward to seeing where you're at out there this morning, and it looks like you're in the Twin Spires Gap. Good morning.
I am. The buzz back here is palpable. We're going to see some of these horses putting in those final works before the Kentucky Derby. Flavian Pratt is going to be here to ride Emerging Market for Chad Brown. Jose Ortiz will be here to ride Always a Runner, who's Chad's Oaks Hope. And we also have Tyler Gaffleone. He's going to be working Bella Ballerina for Brendan Walsh, and Hall of Famer, Triple Crown champion riding our winner in Mike Smith with the big Money Mike smile. He'll be aboard. So happy to put him through his final paces as we look to the Derby. And I'll be bringing you actually a pedigree profile on another horse who's hoping to see those genetics come through at that mile and a quarter, talking about incredible. For now, though, back to Joe and Kevin up in the studio.
Well, thank you, Ren, Caitlin, and Rosie, as we take a look at the Kentucky Derby leaderboard. No changes in the top 10, Kevin. We mentioned earlier, emerging market, so happy, expected to work. As we turn the page here, though, again, Silent Tactic is out. Number 17 is Intrepido. 18, 19, 20 are the foreign horses.
Silent Tactic is.
Stark Contrast.
Stark Contrast.
I've been getting those two mixed. My apologies. Stark Contrast. Silent Tactic we'll see working.
First page, full effort. Nobody's looking better on the track in terms of being full of himself. Reminds me of Catching Freedom a couple of years back and Burnham Square last year. And then, of course, on this page, incredible Golden Tempo, Pavlovian. Very interested in that trio in terms of price horses.
There you see the horses on the outside looking in. A litmus test would be the first if we get another defection. Don't forget those draws for the Oaks and Derby are tomorrow. All right, there you see the crowd, the buzz continuing to build here at Churchill Downs as we get close to opening day tomorrow, Saturday. Next week is going to be absolutely bonkers. On the backstretch, now Caitlin Benson aspires to be a Hall of Famer, and she's standing by backside with one of them.
Well, we kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier on the show. Triple Crown winning jockeys, catching up with them is a little bit hard to come by, so I'm pleased to be joined by one of them here. Of course, it is Mike Smith, who's back again this year, won the Triple Crown on Justify, going to be on board. So happy coming up next Saturday. And we kind of talked a little bit off camera. This is a horse that I thought maybe has kind of flown under the radar a little bit. You're hoping that's going to change here in just a little while when you work him.
Yeah. You know, he's kind of been that way from day one, just kind of flown under the radar, but he just don't seem to do nothing wrong. He seems to keep running just as fast as he has to. Yeah, we're going to take him for a spin around the track. We'll breeze him this morning, probably around 5/8 of a mile, and see how he gets over the ground, and we'll go from there.
You always know how much gas is left in the tank at the end of a race. This is a horse that a few have alluded to. There could be maybe some distance limitations because of the pedigree. How do you counter that?
Well, listen, I mean, he's by Run Happy, which was a really, really top sprinter. But Run Happy was by Super Saver, who was a horse that won the Derby. It's out of a Blame mare. The pedigree's there to get the distance, and he proved it, I think, in the Santa Anita Derby. If he'd have won just by hanging on or something like that, you'd be a little bit worried. But he actually was drawing away at the end and pulled up, and energy-wise, he seemed really good. He came out of the race good the next morning. He ate up. He was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed the next day, so it didn't take nothing out of him.
This is a horse that, as compared to the other horses in the field, does have a bit more tactical speed. That's what a lot of them lack in here. Of course, we are going to draw post positions tomorrow, but in a perfect world, where would you like to be on the first turn with him?
He should be in that first flight. I mean, he actually is quicker than you realize. Even in the Santa Anita Derby, he kind of slipped a little in behind, leaving there. If he gets away well, he's actually a lot quicker than people think. But I like to place him anywhere about 3 to 4 off of him, going into that first turn, get him in a nice, happy, comfortable rhythm, and a place to go when it's time, or hopefully the whole trip, and then. I think, again, if he gets a whole lot more out of his races, if he moves forward off the Santa Anita Derby like he did the San Felipe into the Santa Anita Derby, he's not without a really good chance.
You're one of the most veteran riders here in this race. You're probably actually really tired of everybody talking about your age. Coming in looking to be the oldest winning rider of the great race here. From your Derbies past, what are some lessons, good and bad, that you would maybe implore to some of the younger riders in the room today?
Well, I'm not going to tell him. I ain't going to tell him till it's over. Not till it's over, so I'll keep those to myself. But, no, there's nothing like experience in anything in life, right? So it helps to have been here before. You know how to handle the situation. There's a lot of crazy energy that flies around Derby weekend, and it can wear you out, so it's good to have done it a few times.
Yeah, I don't think people realize it until they're actually there. They're on the horse, or you're in the crowd, or something like that. It's something unlike nobody could ever experience.
No, it really isn't. It's again, listen, this is what we all dream of, man. So I mean, there's just so much going on, and so many. The crowd will be huge, man. There's a lot of electricity in the air, and sometimes you'll get to running that race and over and over and over and over in your head so many times. By the time the race comes up, you're tired.
Well, it's good to have you back, Mike.
It's great to be back. I'm so happy.
Mike Smith joining us back here on the backside, going to ride in another Kentucky Derby, going to be on board. So happy who we're going to see working this morning.
Hall of Fame jockey, Hall of Fame person, always so giving of his time. We thank Mike Smith for that interview. Let's shift gears over to Incredible. And this is a horse that people are on one side of the fence or the other, Kevin, when it comes to how much they like him. People like the Virginia Derby, and there's other obvious holes to poke.
In the plus column, 2 wins at Churchill Downs, won the street sense, similar to we saw Sovereignty do last year when he was a 2-year-old, or ahead of his win as in the Derby last year. He looked fantastic in the Virginia Derby, saw the gap, hit it with acceleration. That's what you want to see. Relatively geared down across the wire. I think there's more there. In the negative column, just not quite fast enough. The numbers aren't there, so that's something you have to keep in mind. He'll have to go faster than he has before.
Doesn't rival the $2,500 paid for Chunk of Gold last year when he ran in the Derby, but cost just $75,000 at auction. But Ren's a pretty big fan of this pedigree.
Yes, I am. You know, sometimes it's a matter of breeding the best of the best. Sometimes it's a matter of you're actually just trying to reinforce the genetics of one of the best. And with Incredible, that is what we're seeing. This is a son of Bolt Doro. Bolt Doro was a multiple grade 1 winner. The Derby didn't go so well for him, but he did win the Santa Anita Derby. He himself is a son of Medaglia Doro. Medaglia Doro, we've gone over his resume before. One of the standout races, of course, being the Midsummer Derby, the Travers Stakes. Now, take in mind here, with Bolt Doro, he's out of Globetrot, who's a daughter of Hall of Famer A.P. Indy. This is important. A.P. Indy, he himself missed the Kentucky Derby. He had a foot abscess, but he did win the Belmont Stakes at 1.5 miles. He beat Older in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He himself is son of Seattle Slew, a Triple Crown champion, and out of a daughter of another Triple Crown champion in Secretariat. Now, this is, again, important because now I'm going to drop down to the bottom of the tree. Incredible is out of Sapphire Spitfire. She's a daughter of Awesome again. He won the Queen's Plate. He won the Classic. And then when we take it to the second dam here, that is Sapphire and Diamonds. She's a daughter of 2003's Horse of the Year, Mineshaft. Mineshaft is a son of A.P. Indy. So now we've got A.P. Indy top with the sire, bottom with the dam, and you got to bear with me here because this is not on the graphic. But when you third dam is by Unbridled, who won the Kentucky Derby as well as the Breeders' Cup Classic. But then that fourth dam, and you're going to go, why are we going fourth dam? Here's why we're going fourth dam. She is a daughter of Seattle Slew, so there you get him again, and a half sister to the dam of A.P. Indy, his mother. So not only is Incredible got multiple instances of A.P. Indy himself, he hails from the direct family of A.P. Indy. I think that puts a lot of emphasis on just how much forethought went into this pedigree, guys.
Ren doing a great job on the work show. He's got a lot of gigs going. Ren Carruthers, Bloodstock agent, available for hire.
Yeah, Ren's Pedigree Lab. Let's market that.
She gets passionate about that stuff. Silent Tactic, there you see the best horse Tacitus has ever sired by leaps and bounds, and very, very consistent sort as well. Hasn't missed the board in 6 starts. And Kevin, this was a fast work yesterday. 48 seconds flat with Derby rider Christian Torres astride.
Well within himself. Christian Torres coming in to do this work with him, of course, his regular rider. He had some issues in between that Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. He seems to be going very well right now. Can he make up those links on Renegade? Renegade, of course, the horse to beat in the Derby. But Rosie, what are you seeing in this work from yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, as far as just a really straightforward work to have a 48 flat, even 12s, I mean, that's just really what you want to see. But the way he's doing it, he's just really in hand. His rider's just sitting still and letting him cruise. And when a horse cruises 48 flat, I mean, that's just a quality animal. And then pricks his ears at the wire here and just really gallops out just as evenly. And maybe the rider's even asking him a little bit more after the wire than he was during the actual work. So just a really attractive work. You can see he still has his ears pricked. You know, he's relaxing, but he's still moving on. So a really attractive work by Silent Tactic.
We'll shift gears, excuse me again here, to trainer Mark Cassie, who had silent tactic work. We'll take a look at his Oaks fillies later, but let's find out what he has to say about this one.
I thought he went great. More importantly, he just came back, never took a deep breath, got over the racetrack well. Christian was happy with him. If Christian's happy, I'm happy. I wasn't looking for anything spectacular. That's kind of him. If I wanted him to go, I would have given him company. But he went 48, did it easy, galloped out well. And again, more importantly, it's afterwards. And I just watching him, he's happy as can be. So, yeah, that's it. We're ready. He's handled. He handled the crowds well at Arkansas. And, we know that paddock is very small and there's a lot of people around. He also went out into the infield a couple times there. So he's ready. I mean, he's got plenty of racing experience. Now we just need some pace and some luck.
He's powerful, stealthy, agile, and he was the runner-up in the Florida Derby, just like Mage from the same barn. Came back to win the Kentucky Derby a few years ago. The Puma, and we got his first look at the Churchill Downs yesterday, Kevin. Just that kind of walking around, taking everything in.
First day here, he walked the shed row. This is his second day here, and he comes out and he just jogs a little bit on the track. You can see he's taking things in a little bit, just bringing in the sights and sounds of Churchill Downs. His first time here, of course, in Louisville. But as the morning continued, as this little work session continued, he did sort of start touting himself, really start to show himself and puff his chest out and tuck his head in, which I like to see. Joe, question marks for him in the Florida Derby. I thought he was on the best part of the track, wide throughout. He didn't gallop out that strong. Distance is a question. But his most recent work that he put out in Gulfstream Park, that was sensational. A mile about 137. He looked fantastic in that work. And Gustavo Delgado, he is so good at getting horses to get more distance. We saw it with Mage. We'll see him have a strong gallop here. I think Monday or Tuesday is what they're saying. But the Puma, distance is a question, but he's in the right hands.
Yeah, had a real nice work last weekend that sets him up well for this. And Gustavo basically telling us that just wants to keep him happy at this point, that he is more than fit and ready to run. All right, we're going to go over next to So Happy, and here's his bio. And again, we were talking about it off camera, Kevin. This is a horse that's going to take money because of the storyline behind it, Mike Smith, and the name So Happy. This is going to be the $5, $10, $20 win bets from the fans that maybe are just looking forward to playing a name that kind of strikes their fancy.
So Happy, Mike Smith up. That seems like a hunch play to play right there, right? No happier guy that I've ever watched on the screen before. He does such a good job with his mounts and, of course, in his interviews. So Happy. I thought he had a perfect setup in the Santa Anita Derby. He just tracked a speed duel and took over. So he had Potente kind of fading there at the end, but he did finish strong through the wire. It was just his second time going 2 turns. So you got to think he moved forward, second time going 2 turns. Was that his race? Was that his Derby? Or does he have more to show us? That's a big if. You want to see that price. If this is the sort of irrational money that we do see on runners every Derby, then you might get a little shorter than you'd want. I don't know, what do you want? 25 to 1 would be a good price for me to be interested in So Happy.
It's going to be a lot lower than that. But if he were by Into Mischief or Not This Time or Gun Runner and he wasn't by Run Happy, I think a lot of the handicappers would be a lot more interested.
But Mike brings up a good point. Super Saver, right? It's still there. It's just not that immediate sire. It's deeper, as Ren keeps on showing us. It's deeper than that. So he proved himself 2 turns for sure.
All right, Mark Glad, his first Kentucky Derby experience, and bringing a contender here in So Happy. How happy is Mark?
Well, it's been a wonderful journey so far. We were a little bit surprised when he broke his maiden, only because he's a horse that, he doesn't do a whole lot in the morning. We always knew he had some ability, but he was a little bit scatterbrained as a young horse that had never started and had to ship to run down the Del Mar in the fall. But boy, when the gate opened, he was all business and ran real professionally. And then from there, he's been almost flawless. He came back in the San Vicente and ran a smasher, and maybe a little bit of a disappointing effort first time around 2 turns in the San Felipe, but I think to most everybody watching, it just looked like maybe a horse that didn't want to go that far. because that was his first time around 2 turns. But typically horses are going to improve second time around 2 turns. He didn't have a perfect training schedule going into the San Felipe, so we really felt like there were some things that he would improve upon in the Derby, in the Santa Anita Derby, and he did. We got him a little further back off the early pace and really finished up nicely and ran a great race.
We'll move over to Chief Wallaby, who only has the 1 win on the resume, but he's been knocking heads with some of the top contenders in South Florida coming into this. He'll be adding the blinkers. I'd like to bring Rosie back in here. Rosie, I would have to say, if somebody asked me, Joe, who is the buzz horse for this year's Kentucky Derby, Chief Wallaby would be near the top of the list. He worked well. He's been training well. It's Belmont. It's blinkers on. Lots to like about this horse. What are you seeing in this morning activity here?
Well, I hate to make a cheesy comparison because he certainly doesn't have the resume that Sovereignty did last year coming into this race, but he is just one of those horses that has been catching the eye, and he had a fantastic breeze, but he just has a real presence on the track. He's moving so fluidly, and has definitely been eye-catching for me. He's relaxed, he's professional, and he just looks like a good quality horse.
Kevin, your thoughts on Chief Wallaby? I mean, I've moved him up. I think if the blinkers just improve him a little bit, that's all he needs to get past some of the top contenders.
I have doubts about the blinkers, right? We just haven't seen it be successful. Rocket Can, Bill Mott did blinkers with him to try to get him to show more. But in terms of that recent work that we saw here at the track, you can see why they put blinkers on him, Joe. He's tended to lug out a little bit in his moves in the morning. He did it less, very focused when he moved by his workmate recently. So I thought it was a huge move. He looks the part every bit. The price is going to be short with all this buzz.
He was taken out of consideration, and Trepido was earlier on in the process, and he was added back to the potentials, the AE list, and yesterday he drew in by Maximus Mischief. He's one of the more experienced horses in the field, Kevin, with 6 starts, and he's got a little bit of tactical speed, and there's been a little bit of talk about the lack of speed in the Derby, but we're starting to see a little bit more get infused into it with Steve Asmussen's horse, Chip Honcho, and also Intrepido getting in.
Intrepido broke on the top in the Santa Anita Derby, but then was settled behind. So very sharp from the gates. Hector Barrios is going to come in town to ride. It'll be his first time riding at Churchill Downs. If you've got gate speed, I don't think you're going to pull back after you get a sharp break. So I think he'll at least be prompting the pace, Joe, and definitely is going to add a little bit extra in terms of sharpening up the pace. And we just see hot paces every year in the Derby.
Right.
I don't doubt it's going to happen again.
No, I agree with you. Brad Cox with a 3-headed monster for this year's Derby. 3 of the top 10, in fact, and one of those is Commandment, who a lot of people believe will be the second choice in the Derby behind Renegade, and we've seen some of his morning activity. Rosie, let's go to you up on the 4th floor here. You see Katie in the irons, and you see Commandment out on the racetrack. What have you been seeing from him, and what do you think of him overall?
Yeah, he can see he just was a little bit worked up there, and that's can sometimes be a hard thing to do to get them past the gap because you've got all the horses running on the rail, galloping on the rail for a distraction. But he's certainly feeling good about himself. I wasn't blown away by the work for this horse, but he holds a good presence. He looks like he's moving really well. He certainly is feeling good. To me, he's not at the very top of my list as far as coming into the race, but he does certainly look good out here on the track.
One thing I'm seeing is that he's jogged twice, right? The rest of the Cox trio has been galloping out there. And I think we're seeing a lot of the spunk and the sort of fight in him right now is because he wants to do more, but they're not doing more with him. So that's a question mark for me, Joe.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. You know, we've been seeing a lot of these horses train. It's time to put some of them in the starting gate. We got a week from today for the Oaks, week from tomorrow for the Derby, but tomorrow is opening day at Churchill Downs. First post going to be 12:45. Oaks and Derby draw. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Also, for the first time since 2010, we will be racing on Sunday, Fun Day. April 26th. Again, first post will be at 12:45. We'll take Monday off before we jump into Tuesday racing next week. And the Kentucky Derby draw will take place right around 2 o'clock in the paddock. Races 3 and 4 in between those two. We'll do the Oaks first, and we'll do the Kentucky Derby. Kevin and I will take a look at those respective fields, Nick Tamero's morning line, and interviews from Caitlin Benson as well. All right, so when we return here on the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show, we're going to ride along with Commandment. Rosie Napravnik is going to take the reins. We'll be back right after this.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights, like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
Elegance is an attitude.
We are back on the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show, now just moments away from the designated training period. We're going to see some workers this morning. Emerging Markets so happy scheduled amongst those. As you can see, the maintenance going on the racetrack right now as track is taking some water, getting it nice and prepared for the very important horses that will be participating next weekend. Amongst those, Kentucky Derby contender Commandment. We got a different look here as we send it to Rosie Napravnik to take us through this workout that occurred last week. Rosie?
Yeah, you can see, he's a little bit of an aggressive horse, which probably plays to the point that they're jogging him instead of galloping him. Sometimes when they want to do too much, you can kind of keep them from overworking themselves by doing jogging 2 rounds instead of galloping 1. But he's definitely an aggressive horse. You can see he's really braced against his rider here. This is an interesting view, though. It's almost a little bit distorted, but you can see here with the rider's hands, he's definitely got tension on the reins. He's intentionally laying off of another horse to try to get Commandment to relax and just come off the bridle a little bit, so he's not doing too much. But he's just stayed, the rider has just stayed in one position. He's not really making any moves on him here. And as they turn into the lane, maybe he lets him out a little bit there, not really asking for anything so much. But the horse is going along nicely. He looks like he's maybe asking for a little bit more, as you can see him passing the Twin Spires here in this view. And here, his hands aren't really moving too much. You can see his elbows are still bent. And here he's definitely asking for a little bit more on the gallop out as his hands go forward. And you can see Commandment's neck just moving a little bit of a quicker pace. So he's stretching a little bit more in the gallop out.
All right, thanks, Rosie. We're going to switch gears from the Kentucky Derby to the Kentucky Oaks. And that will occur 1 week from today. Can't wait. And again, it'll be on prime time on NBC for the first time. Kentucky Oaks leaderboard. Kevin, yesterday on the work show, Caitlin Free caught up with Chad Brown and said, hey, always the runner's flying under the radar a little bit, and they're really not talking about her. And Chad said, after I work her tomorrow, they'll be talking about her. That's some
right.
pretty strong confidence.
She's a sports car, right? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to get to see that, and no doubt. I mean, I thought she had a perfect trip to get it done in the Gazelle, so that's a knock on her, but she's still lightly raced, just like her stablemate, just 2 races. She could be anything, Joe. We're going to get to see a lot of these fillies dazzle us here this morning for the designated workout period.
Wide open Kentucky Oaks, always a runner. Still a little bit green, too, but again, that inexperience, you can put it all together 1 week from today. There you see 6 Speed. aptly named. People think that he's going to be the pace setter in Kentucky Derby 152, recently arriving from overseas. And as you can see, the horses are waiting to come out on the racetrack for the designated training period, which is now just moments away. We'll be right back with that and a whole lot more right after this.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights, like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
With over 200 flavor notes to discover, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
And we pick up right where we left off before the break. There you see 6 Speed coming in from Dubai, where he was last seen running second in the UAE Derby. And Caitlin, I know you've got some scoop on 6 Speed.
I do. I've been talking to a couple of his owners, Reagan Swimbake, mostly, and obviously the first time we're going to see him on the track today. He arrived in good order yesterday. He's been feeling really, really good since he got here to Churchill Downs, so all things good with him. Declan Cannon, who's been on our show, he's going to be on board this morning. He's going to be handling the riding duties in the morning for 6 Speed. Ryan Moore was on him over in England and Newmarket for a while following the UAE Derby, keeping him through his paces in the morning. We're hoping to catch up with Bupart Seymour, his trainer, maybe tomorrow, and talk about the lengthy quarantine this horse had to go through, because he's not going to be headed back to Dubai or England. He is going to stay here in the United States and make a trainer switch, since he was purchased by these U.S. connections. And I believe on the show tomorrow we're set to announce his rider. That's still a little bit up for discussion, but I think we're going to maybe break that news around this time tomorrow. But a 6 Speed, first look at him on the track. He had to go through about 2 weeks of quarantine over in England to be cleared to move over here to the United States, which of course he is a Kentucky bred son of not this time. So looking in good order and excited to see him out here on the track this morning.
Black Type Thoroughbreds, a syndicate founded in 2019 by Jake Ballas and his bloodstock wife agent Matt Miller. They finalized the purchase of this horse back in mid-January with an eye on the Kentucky Derby, and Kevin, just a victory to make it here.
To make it here, yeah, absolutely. You know, he did seem to be distance challenged in the UAE Derby. Wonder Dean was able to take advantage of that. He's got one way of going. It's going to take a lot for him to move up my list to show us here in the mornings.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Dan and Bourbon, who we have yet to see. I think he's the strongest of the foreign contingent this year. But again, 6 Speed important to the race because of the speed that he's almost assuredly going to show.
Summer is tomorrow, right? That's the
I don't
last
know about
one
that.
We saw
that
from,
was crazy.
Yeah, that was fast, right? From the same trainer. We'll see if he sets that sort of fractions, but that could bode well for the likes of a deep closer like Golden Tempo or someone like that.
Expected to see So Happy work this morning. We're expected to see Emerging Market and Always a Runner, and they are in line to get onto the racetrack. There you see Emerging Market, and you know, Rosie, this is a horse that has had 2 starts going to the Kentucky Derby. This is not something that Chad Brown would usually do. He's had other horses that he skipped the Derby with and won the Preakness because they were a little bit light on experience. But for only having 2 races, this horse seems a lot more professional to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to think, like you said, Chad Brown has no problem being patient, so he clearly thinks a lot about this horse. But this is not your typical lightly raced horse who is a late bloomer and just coming into his own. Chad has thought a lot about this horse for a long time and had a little bit of bad luck with 2 issues since he was a 2-year-old, and both his Derby, this horse and Always Runner, suffered from pneumonia in the fall. But watching his races, though, and especially in the Louisiana Derby, I mean, that horse got an education of 2 or 3 races in one race. He's got tactical speed, which you always want in the Derby. He was, quick out of the gate, had tactical speed, rated, relaxed behind horses, then came around the field and fought tooth and nail to the wire. So, he definitely does not present himself as an inexperienced horse as far as the way that he's performed and the way that he acts. We can see him now acting quite professional. So, and he just looks the part. So between that and his sort of unorthodox road to the Derby, it does seem crazy to have a horse running for only their third start in the Derby, but I'm intrigued. I'm really excited to see him on the track this morning.
Emerging Market's got a great 4-lot game going as well. And Kevin, the best terminology is they're playing catch up. Emerging Market and Always a Runner, they caught up fast.
Caught up very fast. And what we've seen from Emerging Market is not only impressive numbers, impressive figures, but able to battle and take some contact with other horses when the going gets tough in the stretch at the top of the, late coming out of the far turn. I think that he's showing us all that maturity. Physically, he's not quite as imposing as the likes of Chief Wallaby, Commandment, some of those other runners, but has a great stride and reach on this track we've seen so far. He's very relaxed, Joe. I was watching him take a nap yesterday, just sort of dozing off. He's settled in quite nicely, and he was always training, as Rosie was talking about. So he didn't have those races as a 2-year-old, but he was training as a 2-year-old, and he's gone to a bunch of different tracks. So he's seen a lot of different places. He's traveled. He's a contender for me, Joe.
$185,000 is not chump change, but it's not a massive price to pay for a horse that is developed into this caliber of animal. And you mentioned it, Kevin, like he's not built as stoutly as some of the other horses, like a Commandment, for example, but he's long and lanky. He's got a great stride, and Chad Brown loves his athleticism.
Yeah, Chad's always celebrated his mental maturity. And when we're talking about race experience, you're trying to develop the mind, right? Give him more experiences, more learning chances to really develop and be able to react in race, to know what to do, to try to keep on pushing forward and keep on aggressing and trying to get to the wire first. He's got that. He's got his ability to figure out tight spots. The mental maturity's there. He's taking contact. I think those really give me confidence that he can handle the Kentucky Derby.
I want to try to bring Caitlin back in because she got a chance to catch up with Chad Brown on the show yesterday morning. And Caitlin, he is confident in Emerging Market. He was exuding confidence about Always a Runner as we take a look at her here.
Yes, he was, and I'm excited to see what we see from her here this morning. He said she is like a sports car, and he said everyone is going to be talking about her following this work that she is about to put in. Rosie alluded to it, and Chad said it to me yesterday as well. Both her and Emerging Market missed time when they were ready to run as 2-year-olds when he had a bad string of pneumonia come through the barn. Both of those horses were affected. Emerging Market had a little bit of a cut that he was not able to run with that he ended up doing in his stall. But Always a Runner, although she is a little bit late to the game, like Emerging Market, the talent is absolutely there, and he's really just kind of talked about the mental acuity that both of these horses have. The Oaks is a little bit different from the Derby. He said he'd kind of rather be in the middle portion of the starting gate with both of those horses, but Always a Runner, I'm really looking forward to what we see from both her and Emerging Market here this morning because I think they're both very, very live.
They both debuted around 2 turns, something that Chad doesn't normally do. Always a Runner dominating at Tampa, coming back to win the Gazelle last out. Perfect 2 for 2 is Always a Runner. And the stablemate here is Emerging Market. He's going to be getting set for the work. Also So Happy this morning, expected to work amongst the top Derby contingent. We mentioned it earlier, Always a Market, Always a Runner. If they have a baby, maybe they could call it Always a Market.
We're looking at So Happy
this
there.
This is So Happy. This is So Happy, and we're going to have Mike Smith aboard for this work. Kevin, again, the major heavy lifting was last weekend. If you're Mark Glatt, what are you looking for here?
Well, he's said it. So Happy is not the most impressive workhorse, right? They were surprised how good he was earlier on because he wasn't necessarily touting himself in the morning. Most recently, he worked with a turf horse. It was a fine move. I think they're just looking for, a good stride, that he's reacting well to the ground, and that he's within himself and, just a maintenance sort of move. This is a week before the Derby. You don't want to ask too much, but I like the way that he's getting right into a nice stride here. This is good.
Rosie, you've ridden against Mike Smith a lot. You're seeing what's going on in this work right now, breaking away from the pony. I'm guessing just a leisurely work, maybe picking up a little bit of energy as we get closer to the wire.
Yeah, watching Mike Smith out here will make you miss it. but just really nice and relaxed going to the pole. I mean, I know the horse is known not to be a super impressive workhorse, but he goes to the pole nice and relaxed, and you can see Mike's actually just trying to nudge him along and say, "Come on, buddy, we gotta get the work in here this morning." But the horse is a big, rangy horse that is typical of run happies, and I know that there's some concern about the distance, but he sure as heck looks like a distance horse to me. Well, he's got such a big stride. The way that he's run, he's kind of proven that he's certainly got a right to be here, and I love the way that he moves. He's got a huge stride. Mike is giving him a little nudge to the wire here, but again, I think that's kind of what we were expecting out of this work, and he's galloping out really well. I can see him live here, and he just, it looked like it was probably a typical work for him, nothing super impressive, but he certainly is one that we're all going to be looking out for the next weeks.
Kevin, this is fine. Got to be happy with that. Quickly emerging markets coming up.
Yeah, he's got the big behind it. He got going quickly, ass down the stretch, and they didn't want anything from the gallop out, so hard to take much out of that.
All right, so they were working at the same time. So we've got So Happy and now Emerging Market. Again, Rosie, this was moments ago.
Yeah, going to the pole here, you can tell they're both of these horses. The riders are, keeping the horse well within themselves. I think they're probably going to be looking for just that maintenance work. An Emerging Market looks like he's one of these horses where fast horses like to work fast. On the outside here, just to keep him relaxed as they come around the turn. And like I said, both horses here, the Workmate and Emerging Market, well within themselves. They're drifting off the rail a little bit. That's another way that we'll try to get a horse to just have a little bit of a more even, easier work and coming to the wire, and neither of these horses have been asked for anything. I really love the way this Emerging Market moves. He has got a huge stride, and galloping out, you can tell they're not asking for much in the gallop out either. They're not really, the rider on Emerging Market, you can see he's still squatted down pretty good, sitting against the horse and not allowing him to gallop out and do too much.
Flavien Prat, who gave a commitment pretty early on to Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables to ride Emerging Market with just the 2 starts. He was aboard for the Louisiana Derby. He's arguably the top rider, in the conversation. It's him and Irad Ortiz, and he's sticking with Emerging Market.
Yeah, Emerging Market was going with Hedgebook, a filly, also 3-year-old filly, yet to break her maiden. So easy company, not getting too worked up, too eager to fight with that sort of company is what I often see in terms of the fillies with the colts at this time. And I loved his reach and his stretch, specifically right at the wire. Easy company, of course, that gallop out looks super impressive, but huge energy in that. That was a good move. That's what you want to see. He did his hard work, as we saw down in Florida in the last 2.
The foreign contingent, Wonder Dean, the winner of the UAE Derby. And if we can bring Caitlin back in to talk about this one. A lot of times, Caitlin, we don't know exactly what those horses are going to do, but this is moments ago from Wonder Dean. What are you hearing and seeing down there?
Well, his contingent was over in my clocker's stand here for a while. They were just hanging around and getting a good look at him while he was in the chute. Obviously watched this. I believe that they're going to time this as a 6 furlong move. We'll have to get those splits a little while on from Kevin Kirstein, but I believe that was the plan. They also did tell me while they were over here that in around 30 minutes, Denon Bourbon is scheduled to arrive here. So hopefully we're going to maybe see him tomorrow, but Wonder Dean, the first of 2 Japanese horses here. And this was the workout that Kate Hunter alluded to me last week, that maybe he was going to have something that they were going to put on the clock. As I said, we'll have to get the times to you, but he will be on the clock in this race, and I do believe that this will be considered a 6 furlong drill. Yeah,
way off the rail, Rosie. Now being asked, interestingly enough, the time isn't going to probably be reflective of the move from start to finish, but very interesting what they're doing with him here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell he stayed way off the rail for the beginning of that work. And then, really started to ask him at the end. He even tapped him on the shoulder with his whip, and he went around 2 horses that looked like they were breezing together. But the acceleration, you could even see it in the head-on. From when the rider goes from just sitting on him and he's way off of the rail to when he actually gets down and starts riding him. And like you can see the difference in the horse's stride and how much he quickens.
There you see Wonder Dean. Interesting work to say the least. It'll be interesting to see how people digest this one coming out of this move. We saw emerging market for Chad Brown as Kentucky Derby contender. Similar profile, as we mentioned, with Always a Runner. She too is going to work outside of a stablemate here, Kevin, with Jose Ortiz, who was recently named as the jockey on Oaks Day aboard Always a Runner.
Yeah, it's Lee Nani, who broke her maiden second asking at Gulfstream Park at the beginning of March. So we'll see about this sports car. Jose Ortiz up, gotta love that. And him taking the call, I think, is obviously positive signal. He's always finding the right horses. So kept pretty far away, not quite wanting to engage yet. But you got to think that we're going to see some engagement here as they sit down and run at the top of the stretch.
And Rosie, she's only had 2 starts. She's been a little bit green. She was a little bit green when she won the Gazelle. But again, that means she has a lot more to give moving forward. Can Kentucky Oaks Day be that day she does that?
Absolutely. Again, I mean, it's obviously not ideal, but a trainer is, inevitably going to do what's the next logical step. And when you've got a horse that even, being a little behind the 8 ball, having been sick in the fall and waiting till she was able to make her first start, if she's moved forward and she's matured through both of her starts, she's run around 2 turns, I mean, you only get one chance to run as a 3-year-old in the Kentucky Oaks. So if that's the next logical step, because she's showing that much, forward momentum and the mental maturity, then that's worth taking a shot to do it.
Real quick, did you like what you saw there?
Yeah, she was very in hand. You could tell Jose was just sitting on her coming into the stretch and then, finished up easily. It looks like they wanted to match up those 2 workmates to just have something to go along with her. And, she was very rateable, very rideable, which is what you want. So I think it looked like a nice work.
Always a Runner. What kind of price are we going to get on Oaks Day, Kevin?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the price. I mean, that work definitely didn't, I don't think, change anything.
Right.
Leilani was super impressive. She's in my stable male. She was never asked on the inside.
Yeah.
And probably had better energy there at the end.
A lot of times these sparring partners win on Derby week, so make sure you pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
To that one. Here's Chief Wallaby. I believe this is live, and again, made a real nice impression in that recent work, putting blinkers on, which is an iffy proposition, but the camp just might think he needs just a little bit more focus to get him over the hump, because he's been knocking right on the door with some of the top contenders in South Florida. A little bit less experience coming in than a horse like Sovereignty, but this team did win the Derby last year, Kev.
Yeah, Bill's saying just seemed a little distracted in the Florida Derby, right? And maybe running in spots, something to keep him a little more focused. He's still a little green. You could see at the top of the stretch, he got in a tough spot, and he didn't really push forward. He kind of thought, well, let's watch what's going on around me, as opposed to keep on going forward towards that finish line. So, I mean, it's always horse by horse, right? You can't just look at a stat and think, well, this just doesn't work in the Derby. We've got Bill Mott, won this race last year. Absolutely one of the best that we've had in my lifetime, of course. And he's saying blinkers on. We saw a great work. Chief Wallabies loving the track. All positive signal from this one.
Emerging market worked earlier, and Ren Carruthers has caught up with Flavian Pratt. Ren, what do you got?
Flavian just got out of the saddle, and emerging market, he looks so beautiful out here this morning. What were your impressions?
Yeah, it went very well. He's moving well. He's happy, so that's all we can ask.
He's only got 2 races, but boy, has he showed a ton of fight in each of them. I was there for his debut. He ran less than a second off the track record at a distance. We run a lot at Tampa Bay Downs. And then he won the Louisiana Derby at the mile and 3/16. What are your thoughts for him going the mile and a quarter? From my eye, he's got the pedigree, but you're the one who's on his back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's bred to go mile and a quarter, and as of now, he didn't show any sign of distance limitation. So yeah, I mean, it's you never know until you run, but it looks like it shouldn't be a problem.
Your record in the Derby is just outstanding. 6 in the money finishes in 8 tries. Of course, the win via DQ. So just how hungry are you to cross that wire first here?
Yeah, I mean, like every chance I get when I ride the Derby, I mean, I'll try my best, and hopefully we come up with a good result. I think the horse is, like I said, doing very well. So we're going into the race with a positive attitude.
Love it. Flavia Pratt, everybody. He'll be riding Emerging Market on the first Saturday in May.
Good stuff, Ren. And Flavia Pratt is a difference maker in the saddle. Lorelei Lee had to be supplemented into the Kentucky Oaks. Mike Maker, the trainer, this one coming off 3 consecutive races, Kevin, on the synthetic. And again, the question is always with these horses, will that form transfer to the dirt? And she needs to pick up some lengths to be a major player.
Yeah, and I thought she was on a speed bias track to get it done in that Bourbonnette, right? So that's a knock against her. She's been full of herself in the morning, just the one breeze since then. But we've seen her out a few times. I was kind of wondering if she was going to race with us, but she's been out and she seems to be full of herself. So I can see why they've been kind of sitting on her a little bit as they get her energy back up.
Sky High Racing, they've been with Mike Maker for several years. They've had some nice horses over the years, looking to get a taste of the Kentucky Oaks 1 week from today. There you see Lorelei Lee. All right, we've got some more action and gate schooling now for Chief Wallaby. And Kevin, again, it's about getting these horses acclimated with the gate. We want to get it to Rosie as well, but this is all just part of the process.
All part of the process. Just give them a chance to really get used to everything that's going to come their way and remember what they're here to do.
Rosie, how important is this gate schooling leading up to a big race like the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, with a horse like this, I think it's just kind of ticking all the boxes, going through the paces. It's quite often that trainers will school any horse in the gate before they run, the day before they run or the week before they run, just to let them stand in there without the pressure of the racing atmosphere, so to help them stay relaxed on race day. So they understand that, they can go in there and just stand and relax. So obviously handled that really well. You can see he's gotten a little bit hot, but there's quite a bit going on out here now. So Chief Wallaby looks like he's heading probably back to the barn after standing in the gate and a beautiful gallop this morning.
Again, a lot of buzz about Chief Wallaby. He's got a great resume, but of the horses moving up lists or moving up people's rankings when it comes to who they're looking to play on the first Saturday in May, Chief Wallaby is certainly one of those horses. Kevin, we saw Emerging Market. We saw Always a Runner. Lots more action via tape, and what we're going to see obviously tomorrow, 1 week out from the Kentucky Derby, but the days just keep clicking along, and we got the draws tomorrow.
Interesting that, we can't see the whole track, Joe, but usually in the mornings we see the Cox trio come out, and it didn't see them. So they might have been out there, and we just didn't catch footage of them. I thought maybe they make that appearance, during the designated work period. So I'm curious about all that, but great to see the Chad Brown duo, the lightly raced Chad Brown duo, make their appearance. And Emerging Market was everything that I want to see in that final breeze heading into the Derby.
All right, I think we're going to send it to Rosie for some thoughts here. Is that... No, we're gonna keep the conversation going. It's one of those things, Kevin, where we've looked at all these races, we've seen these works, we hear the buzz on the backstretch, we get the draws tomorrow.
Yep.
When you can start to finally visualize how it might play out on the track. Now, after that gate opens, things can change a lot, right? But we visualize it as part of the handicapping process, and once we get the draws, we get the actual past performances, all the notes that we may have in Formulator, et cetera, we can really take that next step towards the handicapping of these races.
Yeah, we got to dive into it. Use your handicapping expertise and keep these narratives in mind. But of course, it always comes back to the fundamentals.
There you see the crowd gathering, and Ren has been chasing down some jockeys. We had Flavia Pratt earlier, and now she's standing by with Jose Ortiz. Ren?
Well, I'm with Jose Ortiz right off the back of Always a Runner. This is the first time you've been aboard her, correct?
Yes.
So what were your impressions?
Oh, she's a very nice filly. Obviously, she's 2 for 2, but talked to Shad yesterday, and he wanted me to get on her and get a feeling, and I'm very thrilled that I did because she works so nice.
I'm sure you've watched her races back. It's got to be encouraging that she's won at the mile and eighth distance, having taken the Gazelle.
Of course, the only filly on the field that won at the distance, and that's encouraging. I think she worked very nice today. We did what Shad wanted. Easy maintenance half, 48 and change, and she did it very nicely. I'm very happy with her.
When you're coming into a race with a lightly raced horse, and she's going to be in front of some giant crowds, did you see what you would hope to see with her mentally?
I mean, she was a little anxious when we were standing, waiting for emerging market to work, but not in a bad way. I mean, she's just very happy. But when she got going, she was very classy. She was perfect. She's lightly raced, but I think she's got a good mind, and she proved on her races. She does everything right. I'm very happy with her.
All right, so you feel you got the bonding time in.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, thank you so much, Jose Ortiz. Jose, he will be riding Always a Runner in the Kentucky Oaks on Friday.
Joe, you could see how he kind of guided her away from the workmate after she made that move across the wire, which was an impressive surge there, just trying to keep her not doing too much. So you got to think that Jose had a really nice hand on that move with Always a Runner.
And Jose said 48 and change, 48 and 2 according to the Churchill Downs clockers with a gallop out of minute and 3/5. Again, we thank Kevin Kirstein for this information. Horse Racing KK to follow on X to get all these workout times. Doing a great job of covering it from a media perspective here at Churchill Downs. We saw Always a Runner. We saw that workout. Now we're going to switch gears to some other Oaks fillies, including the Mark Casse trained duo. Counting Stars, I've been very impressed with her. Kevin, she's 4 for 7, and I think she's coming into this race the right way off. Probably the best performance of her career last time out.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance where she beat her stablemate last out in the fantasy. I thought that she had a perfect trip. She blew up in the race, head into the far turn. She was just sitting with that spy trip right outside, a sort of long shot front runner. And but she did it in a really relaxed, easy way. So she made good work of that group. And of course, her stablemate maybe got caught behind as the outside flow started to begin, and she was on the inside as the forward horse started to come back. So she's relaxed, she's nice, and this was a very easy move.
Honeybee's second fantasy dominating win. Rosie, what are you seeing from her here?
Yeah, this is a really nice breeze. I mean, she looked aggressive, but also, responding to her rider at the same time, and just cruises along well within herself. I love that she's, got a little bit of tactical speed, and you can tell she likes to be in the bridle and feel her rider's hands. But she's definitely, a kind filly to ride from the looks of it. And did this move really easily.
No need to send out a search party for this filly. There she is. We've got a good look at her in a moment from her work. Gun Runner is the sire. We've seen her at Churchill Downs on a couple of occasions, Kevin. She's kind of a hard knocking sort with 8 starts and 2 wins. She hasn't been able to handle the likes of Explora and or Counting Stars at Oaklawn, but she fits in the race maybe for a piece of it.
She does, and she seems to be improving. These are 3-year-olds. We want to keep that in mind. Just watching her last work at Oaklawn Park versus this one, she's much more into the work. This is a stiffer drill from her. She's going right off the rip, and you can see it in the time there, 47 and 3. Last work I saw her really put her best move in later in the gallop out where she started to show a little bit more. She is right off the jump doing a lot here.
There you see Search Party Rosie, the rider, with a very strong hold on her here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was very aggressive in the beginning, and you can see he just wasn't able to get her to go quite as evenly as his stablemate. But, she looks very well within herself. She's got a nice, really fluid, smooth stride. She gallops out really well here. He looks like he is allowing her to do a little bit, but a really nice stride. I mean, she looks fantastic.
That was a very nice work from Search Party. Wasn't necessarily expecting that. That's what I think. It's more important to find out what Mark Casse thinks about his 2 fillies for the Oaks.
Search Party probably worked the best I've ever seen her breeze. She likes Churchill Downs, which I already know. She'd run here a couple times and got very unlucky. She should have won here. So that didn't surprise me, but I thought she got over it really well. She just needs a good break. She tends to get away a little slow. Christian's he knows her really well. He knows that her and Silent Tactic are a lot alike. She has less speed than Silent Tactic, but both of them are speed. They need, they're dependent on speed. And so if they give that to us, give it to her, she's going to come running. We knew if we let Counting Stars go too fast, she would have taken off. So we had the cruise button on early. We were talking to the rider and, take it easy, take it easy. She's different than the other two because she has the ability to put herself into the race. If there was no pace, she'd be on the lead. She's a little more push button. I think the biggest part about her is getting her to relax in the first maybe quarter of a mile. So Francisco knows her well, and I think she's a force to be reckoned with.
From Hot Springs, Arkansas to Lexington, Kentucky, and the 3-year-old debut from Percy's Bar was a win in the Ashland. She got a great trip over a mile and a 16th, Kevin, and there's some talk about her being the morning line or maybe even the post-time favorite for the Kentucky Oaks. What are your thoughts on her? Because I think there's reasons to like and there's reasons to maybe take a little bit of a stand against.
Gosh, she going into the Ashland, I watched her drills. I was like, wow, this is super impressive. You could see it with the times. I went back and watched her as a 2-year-old. I realized she's put on a ton of weight. She's gotten big. She's really matured physically. That was great to see. Great to see her take advantage and beat Zany, who a lot of people really love going into the Kentucky Oaks. And then talking to Nicole Russo, DRF's correspondent, the other morning, she was saying that Percy's Bar put on more weight since the Ashland. So she's coming into another big race, Joe. She's getting a nice maintenance move here.
Blemish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, but 2 big wins, both at Keeneland wrapped around it, Rosie. What are you seeing?
Yeah, that was a pretty decent work. She looks well within herself. They obviously stayed way off the rails, so not trying to do too much, which, I'm sure the 49-3 is exactly what they were looking for, and just comes a heads up with her stablemate coming to the wire, but gallops out really well as well. That was a really nice maintenance move for the last work coming into the Oaks.
All right, there you see Percy's Bar wrapping up that workout. Opening day tomorrow, Saturday, and lots of great promotions to take advantage of at Twin Spires. Kevin, we build these big tickets sometimes, man. I'm like, maybe that's a little bit too expensive for me, but you don't want to take horses off the ticket because, man, that could be the horse that wins and costs you thousands of dollars.
I've seen that. I've done that before,
exactly.
Joe.
The bet share is a great option for you to have it so easy to use. You could sell shares of your tickets with your friends, family, even complete strangers on the internet. You just need that link. Send it to people. If they got a Twin Spires account with money in it, they could buy into your tickets.
You can have your friends fund the whole ticket, you just don't even tell them. Tell them you're putting in too. This is a great opportunity. Everybody's thinking about horse racing right now. Share your bets with them and get them involved.
Yeah, and another great promotion is the Bet Back. This is insurance, Kevin. If you bet a horse to win and they run second or third, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10 in all the eligible races. Now, this does start tomorrow and goes all the way through Kentucky Derby Day, so make sure you opt in. I like utilizing this. I know you like to play some long shots to win. If you win the bet, you win the bet, but if you don't, they run second or third, you get some money back.
Yeah, this is great insurance and just keeps you firing. Well, I'd love to see it from Twin Spires.
Again, Kentucky Oaks this year is going to be run at prime time. It is 1 week from today. The draws are going to be tomorrow. Next Friday at 8 o'clock for the first time ever in prime time. NBC is going to be broadcasting the Kentucky Oaks. NBC, Peacock, make sure you tune in. Twin Spires, NBC, make sure you're playing one of the most wide open Kentucky Oaks we have seen in recent years, Kevin. Just looking ahead to the Oaks, we get to see these post position draws tomorrow, but so many different ways you can go in the Kentucky Oaks from a win perspective, putting together those exactas, tries, the gimmicks, and one of my favorite bets, the Oaks Derby double.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the times today that we've gotten from KK, love what the Chad Brown duo did in terms of rolling through 12s. Very even, nice nice times in terms of that work. Bella Ballerina, we didn't get to see it, but 23, 47, 59. If they're trying to get her relaxed, she doesn't seem very relaxed. So that's interesting to see in terms of the Brendan Walsh training.
Yeah, the time seemed, I mean, Emerging Market went 47-3. It certainly didn't look like he was going that fast, right? So I think the track's a little bit on the fast side. Wonder Dean, we saw what he did, 1:17.4, putting a clock in him, but that workout time isn't going to really tell you all that much about what we saw out there.
They blew him out down the lane.
He galloped out in 1:30. Yeah, I mean, 15-2, 54-2, and then they go 1:17.4.
Yeah, they got some air in his lungs for sure.
And So Happy goes a minute and 1/5 for 5 furlongs galloping out and 1:14.1. Lots of action on the work show. Rosie Napravnik's first day with us. Rosie will be back tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday as well. A good first day, a lot of good action on the show today.
Great first day, a lot of action. I think So Happy is a horse that we all have a little bit of a question mark, and his work doesn't really lead you to believe anything different. It doesn't really help or hurt him. That was just a work what it was supposed to be. I really loved Emerging Market's work, especially to hear that he was 47 and change. He just went really easily. I'm really intrigued by that horse. And then the Chad Brown filly worked well as also. So, those two are very intriguing as well, being lightly raced. I did actually see Further Ado live here. Interestingly, he came out right before the track closed, and he was the only horse on the racetrack before the break. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm not sure if they were trying to just save him to make sure he had a private track if he's training overly aggressive, but I'll be really interested to see him and the other Brad's Cox horses tomorrow. Caitlin, what did you think?
That's a good call out, Rosie, because I saw him pass behind me and nobody else was out there. And he's been a horse that's been really, really fresh in the mornings and really amped up and full of himself. So I think that's going to be something that's important to remember as we head forward tomorrow. I'm going to go back and review all of these works. There's so much going on. I can only watch a few things at once. Emerging Market, as Kevin said, he looked like he was doing that very, very easily. Going to have to go back and watch his work. But those were the two horses I was most looking forward to seeing on the track, both of those Chad Brown runners. Mike Smith, when he came back here on So Happy, he shouted out, he was like, this was really good, the work that So Happy put in, and looked like he was doing it quite easily as well. So going to just review a few things. Denon Bourbon's going to be here tomorrow. He's probably just about to get here, so looking forward to seeing him as well. But let's go ahead and throw it on back to Ren to wrap it up for us here on the backside.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. I'm going to have to go back and watch this whole show and watch the works because we've been hoofing it on the backside. It was nice to see, though, Emerging Market and Always a Runner heading back to the Chad Brown barn, nice and calm and collected. And the thoughts from Flavian and Jose on both these horses were favorable. Chad, he had another set to go out, but he did say very good as he was heading trackside. So I'm going to hang out around here because Chad also said that I could hit up the Keurig for a coffee, get some caffeine here, but I'll also try to get some thoughts for you as well. Back to you, Joe and Kevin in the Aristides.
I'm not sure if Ren needs any caffeine, Kevin, honestly. We draw tomorrow. We've got more workers tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah.
We've got live racing tomorrow.
We'll see Incredible tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably the Cox Trio. We'll see.
Yeah, and we got the fans. You're going to continue to see more and more of them with Dawn at the Downs here at Churchill Downs in the coming days leading up to live racing tomorrow. Kentucky Derby and Oaks draws tomorrow between races 3 and 4. We'll be right back, same time, same place tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody.